creatives, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be diving into everything new that has just been released for Illustrator on the iPad based from Adobe MAX because Adobe MAX just ended. It is a online, well, for this year, it was online, and it is an expo for everything. You can learn from so many industry leaders. I'm pretty sure there's still a link, if you have a CC account, there's still a link where you can go and you can watch back for everything that happened in Adobe MAX. But today, we're going to dive into Illustrator and see what they brought to the iPad version about what is new in the program. So, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Give this video a like if you like to see everything that is new. And if you are new here, my name is Angela. I am an illustrator and a graphic designer. I help you with all skills in illustration and design. Even try to give you something a little bit new like today. So let's dive in. I have Illustrator open right here. They have a lot of things that are new in this program. The first thing, which I am super excited about, is Vectorize. Now, you know, or maybe you don't know, but in Illustrator, the whole point of the program is vector illustration and vector images made from either scratch or from a pre-existing image that can be manipulated and moved and customized as much as you want. So having the Vectorize option in here is so nice. I'm going to showcase it to you guys today. It's kind of different from the desktop version. There are desktop version updates. If you have not updated, go ahead and update because there's a lot of updates. Next is the paintbrush tool and brushes. I am so happy they brought this because the paintbrush tool in Illustrator was severely lacking when you compare it to Photoshop. Now, yes, Illustrator isn't mainly a painting application. That's mostly Photoshop and Adobe Fresco within the Adobe programs. However, with Illustrator, you do want to have those options to use the paintbrush tool in the way it's meant to be used. Having the paintbrush tool in here and having it upgrade is so nice. They also added brushes. Now, there are a lot of presets in here from calligraphy brushes and art brushes. I do believe they also have pattern brushes in here, which they always had in the desktop version. So it's nice that they brought it into here. You can also draw paths and add paintbrushes to paintbrush options to your existing paths, which is super nice. And they showcase it a little bit here. We'll dive into it. And then we have share for commenting. Now they did have it in previous upgrade versions where you can share your piece with other people on your team. If you work in a collaborative space, you were able to make updates to it a lot faster. But now they have it where you can add comments and you can have like a discussion. So I'm going to show you where that is. Very, very handy. Also have place linked cloud documents. Now, this is new because yes, you could have linked documents through your CC account, but then you'd always have to import them into the program. Now, you can just place them and they're already linked and updated, and no matter what change you make, it's automatically updated, which is so, so handy because I know they did that for other programs, but now they brought it to Illustrator. Transform as shape is next. This helps to edit curves and paths. So you can edit them and make them into whatever shape you would like to. You can adjust multiple anchor points at once, which is super nice. You can just transform whatever shape you choose and whatever paths you choose. So they all edit on curves. So you can mirror, like for instance, if you have 2 points that are on opposing sides, you can mirror the transformation of those at the same time, which is nice. Rulers and guides. Okay, so they did have guides. Well, they kind of had guides in here. It was mostly just like your base grid background, like grid paper for the background as your guide, but now they have it where it's customizable, and that is so nice because I love customizing my guides. I do it all the time in the desktop version. So having grids and guides and rulers and guides in here is super, super handy. Now they do have it to where you can edit them and snap them, which I prefer because snap guides are so, so handy. You can choose to shut them off if you want, and you can change every kind of setting that they have. So we'll go over that in a little bit. And then Finally, I said this to you guys in one of my previous Illustrator videos that when I was doing implied line and actual line in my artwork, that I wish that they had a blend tool, because blend tools, remember I was talking about shape to shape blends in one of my previous videos. If you haven't checked out my Illustrator on the iPad playlist, I'll link it down below. But oh my gosh, I'm so happy that they have blend tool, because blend tool is so handy when you want to seamlessly blend one color to another or a few colors together, and you can do it across multiple objects as well, which is so nice. And you can also blend not only colors, but you can also blend paths, if I'm not mistaken, like paths and shapes. So you can get like a really cool effect without having to spend like a load of time creating like lines or shapes and like duplicating all over the place. Like you can just blend them, which is so handy. They always like to drop a little hint about what is coming next. They're going to do work on the pencil, and they're also going to do work with effects, which I'm like waiting with bated breath for effects, because they didn't put effects really in Photoshop, and they just have the clipped adjustments in Photoshop, which are your basic photo adjustments. But they also didn't have effects in Illustrator, and I've been waiting for them to come out. There's also going to be a lot more advanced snapping options and isolation mode. Plus, they always like to leave it on a cliffhanger and say that there's going to be more, so we'll see. But let's go ahead and dive into vectorizing, the paintbrush tool, and transforming shapes, rulers and guides, and the blend tool. So let's dive into all of that. I have a artboard already created here. Now this is a photo that I borrowed from Instagram because I wanted to test the vectorize options on this specific photo. Now when you import an image, it's going to just be an image. So if you go into your layers panel, it's going to say image. Let me zoom in for you guys. In the quick selection menu here, this is the account that created this piece. They always shout out specific artists. There is extra icons here. You may notice this one right over here on the left. That is your vectorize icon. So if you want to vector, for instance, this piece, which is only an image and is made of pixels instead of points or vector points, then you want to press that. It will take it a moment to process and read the image or the photograph. If you want to do a photograph, you're more than welcome to. Just depends on how like intricate it is. Once it's done processing, it'll take you to the properties panel, and the properties panel has a lot in here. So it's telling you that yes, it is a photograph, and there is a color mode here, so you can do color, grayscale, or black and white. I want to do color because I want to keep the colors because it's November and, you know, fall. Plus the message I really like, you deserve everything and more. There is lots of colors, there's paths, you can increase this, you can decrease this. I'm going to increase it to 70%. It's going to take it a minute to process all of that information. Okay, there's a little bit of noise. I don't want any noise. So once it processes through, the next is the method. So there are two methods here. So you can either break it away as a separate piece altogether. It like cuts it out of the photo, or you can keep it together. It'll just vectorize the part that you want. I'm going to expand vectorization once I have all of my options selected the way I want them to. So we're going to expand. Object is expanded, and let me zoom in for you guys. Let me have my properties panel. Once I zoom in, you can see if I press the second selection tool, the point selection tool, that it vectorized literally everything, which is so handy. It's going to save so much time. So now that we have it all vectorized, we can ungroup it by pressing this two-page icon here. It is completely vectored. So if you go into your layers panel, you can see that it changed from an image to a grouping. And I want to ungroup it. Again, there we go, it's ungrouped. And now I can take away anything I don't want, like for instance this background by choosing it, pressing the trash can. And then like for instance this right here, I don't want that, take that away. Take this text away, take this text away. There we go, and we have just this left. Now, I can go in, refine all the points and everything like that, clean it up, and make it look really good. And everything is made up of vector points. So, you do have this entire thing. I'm just going to group this and move it out of the way. It does take it a little bit of time to process, so make sure that you allow for the lag, but that is the vectorizing that can happen in Photoshop on the iPad now, which is so handy. And of course you can go in and clean up all these lines, but I want to showcase that paintbrush tool. In the left toolbar there is a pencil tool. Mine's showcased on the pencil tool right now. If you double tap or tap and hold, there is the paintbrush. So once you choose the paintbrush tool, there are options here that were not here before, and there are different types of brushes here. So there's document, where you can just do your basic paintbrushes, and then there's also art and calligraphy selections here. So you can do pencil, you can do charcoal, dry brush, ink paint, scroll pen. Let's see what scroll pen looks like. Those would be cool. Let's see. Whoa, that's cool. Very nice. All right, let's try another one. Let's choose zigzag. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right, so you can have different brushes creating different effects for yourself, and then if you choose it with the point selection tool, it's all vector. It's all points. This is a path for the zigzag, and then each one of these lines from the scroll pen are each individual vector lines, which is so handy because then you can manipulate them and change them as you wish. And now that we have more brushes here, which can allow us to do a lot more things, you can also favorite some and put them in a favorites folder, which is so handy. So if you have your favorites and you can't remember the name of them, you can put them in your favorites folder there, which is super nice. And let's do a calligraphy one. Let's do 30-point oval. Oh, that is so smooth. I love the flow of it. That was nice. All right, now with the brush tool, there's also settings. So you can change the size of it down here under the stroke color icon. You can also change the smoothness, which you've always been able to do. But then under that, there is an icon for the properties of the brush. And for the calligraphy one, or the calligraphic one, there is these options here. You can add more refined selections and options for this, especially with pressure dynamics. So with pressure dynamics, let me just click it on. You can choose the size. So if you want more, like if you want the brush to change, the more you put pressure on the screen, it can do that. I'm gonna save that. So it'll change, and it'll be a little bit different with the way it reacts and acts on the artboard, which is so, so nice. As we go over here to the right toolbar, you may notice there are some new icons over there. One of them being this little speech bubble, which is the share and comment option. So you can share your artboard or your artwork with anyone in your team, and this also allows them to make comments. When you go to share it with your team members, your comments and your notes will also be in there, which is super, super handy, because before you would have to go up here, add people, and then share that way without any comments on there, and you just have to email them comments. Well, now you can do it all together in one. All right, besides that one, there is, if you look all the way down here, there is a link, and that link icon has where you can update your artwork within the program. So if someone has made an update and you're seeing the old one, you can go right in here to this link and press update, and it will update it for you, or you can press relink and it will relink the artwork within the program. And you can also embed it to where you don't have to have it linked. That's very, very handy to have in here. I did mention towards the end that there was a blend tool that I was super excited about. Well, it's right here in the repeat options. Now with the repeat options, it's in there because you can blend shapes. You can also blend colors. So let's see about blending. Let's select individual ones here. If you go into your object icon over here, you can create stroke outline from any paintbrush path, and then you can expand it and ungroup it, and it makes them individual paths like this. So I'm going to choose this last one here. Let me just make sure. Yep. And I'm going to make that a different color. Let's make it a deep dark red. There we go. And then I'm going to choose all of these. Go over to our repeat option. I'm going to choose blend tool, and it blends all of them, which is super handy. Now you can go back in with the point selection tool and you can change some of these as well. For instance, you want that one to be yellow. If you want this one to be like a bronzy color, you can do that. And it'll blend them seamlessly together, which is super, super nice. There we go, and you have a nice blend. Or you can take your shapes, for instance, let's do a shape. Move this over here, switch the fill for the stroke, and then we can, oh, let's increase that stroke so you guys can see it. Gonna increase it to 5. There we go, and then you can go into your repeat options, press the blend tool, and it will blend it all the way through. Now you can change some of the settings here. You can pull this little selector over here and it decreases and increases the amount of repeat blend options here. So you can as little as many as you want. I'm gonna go with 15. And you can also tap on these points and you can move it wherever you want, which is so cool. I'm gonna move it over for you guys so you can see. I'm just gonna do this. You get some really cool effects with all of these. Now that we have explored all of those options, there's also the transform tool as far as transforming curves and transforming multiple points at once. So I'm going to hide all of these layers. Whoops, not that one, this one. I'm going to be on layer 2. I want to transform some of the options here. So I have this blend option here and choose my pen tool or my point selection tool. Okay, so we expand it. They're all their own individual shapes. Choose my point selection tool. So now they all have their own individual paths for anything that we want to transform. For instance, if I want to transform this dot here on every single one, there is a new icon that pops up that allows you to select certain areas of a curved path and allows you to transform it however you need it to transform, and it does it all at the same time, all together. So you can make lots of different options here. You can even do individuals if you want. It's completely up to you. So that is so handy, especially when you have like complex patterns like this and you want to move everything without having to go individually and move everything specifically. Super, super, super handy. You can also do multiples at once and make it as customizable as you would prefer it. Besides that, you can create your own brushes and your own brush paths as well. So for instance, if you wanted to make this into a paintbrush path, you can choose Add, New Art Brush, and you can make this into a brand new brush for yourself. So that way when you draw, it'll make this whole pattern for you. You can do it to the stroke length, proportionately, between guides. There's lots of different options here. You can also choose your direction if you would like to. And the colorization method, I'm going to do tints and shades. I'm going to save the brush so that way it pops up right here. It's going to be under your document folder here, and it's going to be Art Brush 1. You can change the name of it if you would like. And I'm going to deselect that one. Choose my brush tool, and the color I'm going to change to, let's do this green color instead. So when I paint with it, it creates its own new brush. So it's a lot easier to make your own brushes, and you can do some really cool wacky things with it. That looks really cool. So you can definitely experiment with all of this. It's quite fun. With all this being said, there is one last thing, and I want to showcase that. So I want to hide this. Let's pop this one back on. For grids and guides, it's the one thing I did not go over yet. Grids and guides, you can have snap to grid, smart guides. You can show the grid, which is what was always in here, but you can change the color of it now, and you can also have a lot more control over what it looks like, because I don't know about you, but I can never see the gray grid. So I'm gonna change it to green. It's my favorite. There we go. You can also do your regular guides, which can be showcased. For the color for that, I'm going to change that as well. Let's do a nice purple. That seems cool. You can also show rulers. We never was able to show rulers before, and it's so handy to have rulers, because your rulers is where you pull your guides from. So I'm going to have rulers on all the time now. All right, so I'm going to drag a guide down. This one, I want to snap. So when you pull guides, it snaps, which is so nice. So you can have your grids and your guides. So if you want to create logos in this program, you can have a lot more control over it by showing your rulers and pulling down guides. So that way you can make sure that your logo is perfect. It is so much more handy to use guides, especially when creating logos, but also with just perspective and such like that. All of this is super handy. I'm going to shut off the grid because it is a little distracting. There we go. So with everything that I showcased here, there is so much that you can do. Ooh, it looks a little nuts right now. But there's so much that you can do now, and there's so much more customization that you can do. Definitely making your own paintbrushes is going to be a lot easier now. I hope you all enjoyed learning a little bit more about what is new in the Illustrator program for the iPad. Definitely let me know in the comments down below what you will be using and what you're excited to use as far as everything that just came out. And if you haven't already, go ahead and check out Adobe Max, and I will see you all in my next video. See you soon, creatives.